So it's your journey and how you take it will help you, but anyone who's going deeper into it, I always say that you should visit India and try to understand from a person who lives that way, because they have so much knowledge to share that's never been shown on the phone. My name is Payal. Growing up, I would say in India, the society that I'm growing up in does not practice yoga. It's a shame because a lot of modern India was looking up to America and it was taken over by British. So we lost our culture and history somewhere. So I moved out of India and the first place I lived in was Paris. And that's when I went to a few yoga classes and I had this realization that, wow, I'm the Indian girl, but I see other people doing yoga and I'm not practicing my own heritage. And I started seeing more and more how the Western world was monetizing yoga. I actually also remember seeing this documentary by a famous guru saying that if you go to a village in India, they will know what Coca-Cola is, but they won't know what yoga is, because our culture and yoga is 15,000 years old. It came before any religion ever existed. I discovered yoga and meditation after being away from my house as an adult, and I inculcated that back into my family. So I was kind of the limb inculcating back into my family. So growing up, I was not into yoga. I was also seeing sports. I was also doing workouts, Pilates, and yoga to me was also, oh, it's just a physical exercise. I myself didn't know the deeper meaning of yoga until I decided to take on that journey and understand it deeper. So what I know and what I've read, at 12,000 or 15,000 years back, there was this one person who arrived on earth in India, and this person was called Adi Yogi, which is the first yogi ever. And he came and he just sat in one place and there were thousands of people around. They thought that he's going to preach something, and at the end he didn't preach anything. He just sat there silently for days and months on end, and slowly people started leaving because they got bored. By the end of it, there were 7 people left. So these 7 people are the ones that stayed there, and then he said, okay, you're here, I will share my teachings with you. So those 7 people then transpired and went to different parts of the world to teach yoga. What I know, for me, basically yoga is a union between mind, body and soul, and it's to connect yourself with the consciousness, as we're all one. So the more you're able to connect with that, the more you deeply live in this present moment and this world, and you function with the yogic philosophy of being a good human being. And at some point, through yoga and through other practices, you can reach enlightenment. That's kind of the ultimate existence of yoga. I think, as with most things, with the rise of social media and everything, life has just changed. I mean, just being in Lisbon in 3 months, I can see how many tourists are here, and it's because of Instagram. You see those trams on Instagram, and that's what transpires people to come to Lisbon, and that's what they think it is. And you can't capture yoga in a social media post. It's impossible to show you. So what the Western culture has done is beautified and glamorized yoga, and said that these poses and these postures and these fancy things people can do is yoga, but actually that's ballet and circus. That is not yoga. I think with most things in life, it comes with pros and cons. So with the commercialization of yoga, there has been a lot of benefit that people are understanding the benefits in general, and yoga's philosophy is not, oh, only Indians need to do it. So I think that's the biggest positive, where now if I travel to any part of the world, I find someone doing yoga. It's reached the far ends of the world. The con that's come with it is, I think a lot of times people don't relate yoga with India anymore, and I find that a bit not nice, in the sense that it's a place where you can learn a lot more about the traditional yoga and the way of life, and to not credit it is to not give it that support it needs to grow and harness. Because what's happening with the commercialization is people are trying to make money from yoga because they see it again as a monetary tool. So you see the same happening in India, where people are still poor compared to some parts of the Western world. So they tend to also monetize it rather than focus on the practice, because they don't get support, community, or really the respect that's needed to enhance someone's journey, because unfortunately we live in a world that requires money to sustain our daily life. The one thing that had really changed for me personally was my self-worth and what I was tying my self-worth to. So when I did deeper introspection through meditation, journaling, yoga practice on the mat, beyond, I realized that I was tying my self-worth to what society asks us to tie it to: buying a house, money, getting married, external validations, but our self-worth is completely inner. For me personally, because I am Indian, I feel yoga is part of my culture and tradition, and not knowing it would have been a shame. The yoga lifestyle is not an easy one, so it's not more about how yoga finds you, it's about how you find yoga and how you resonate to yoga.